I didn't record the process of making any of these props or swords as I made them for fun in my own time, but in this time lapse I will show the tools I used to make them. Right now I'm just showing off the details and how everything could work like it does in the show, the reserve blades, the triggers on the sword, and even how the blade can be removed and the locking grip inside the blade handle. I just show off the smaller details like the screws attached to the grip and the cross-hatching on the grip itself. Here I added a UV sphere as a mesh and used the multi-resolution modifier to add more faces to the mesh and make it smoother. I then went into sculpt mode to roll out the sphere into a long tube shape. I got it to be symmetrical by enabling all mirror axis, then just using the smooth tool to straighten out any bumps. I then used the elastic deform and grab tool to pull at the tip and curve it upward, then flex the middle to create the finger guard shape. I then added another multi-resolution sphere and used the scale tool to make it an oval shape, then joined it to the other end of the handle, then I just moved it into place on the sword. For the blade I just added a square mesh, went into modeling mode and used the loop cut tool to add a set of faces around the middle. I then toggle X-ray mode to move all edges at once and thin it out. I then bring the bottom 4 edges up toward the middle, then pull only the bottom 4 together to make the blade edge. I then stretch it out long ways and then look at the blade from the X angle so I can rotate all edges on the left by 45 degrees, then scaling them apart so they're lined up with the lines of the grid. To make the blade straight, I then add another square mesh and thin it out and rotate it 45 degrees to match the angle of the blade end, move it so it's barely overlapping the blade. Duplicate it and replicate it on the other side, then join those together, duplicate and place them equal width apart down the length of the blade. Joining all those together, I add a Boolean modifier to the blade, then set the name of those duplicates rectangles as the object value. After applying, I delete the rectangles, and then the blade has the imprints of the cubes wherever they overlapped.
The gas canister is quite simple. It was made using the mesh shapes already found in Blender without much editing or modifying. I first used a cylinder, then rotated on its side. Add a UV sphere and move it to the end of the cylinder. Go into modeling mode. Toggle X-ray, then move the right side of the sphere's faces where it starts to curve out, then using the scale tool to bring them together. Flattening out the edges without needing to go into sculpt mode, I then line the apexes of the sphere with the very end of the cylinder, then join them so the transition between the meshes is now a smooth, seamless shape. I then added a cone mesh to the left side. Added another smaller cylinder to the tip of that, then duplicated that cylinder. Made it shorter and wider to make the gas cap. Although the grip looks complicated with the cross-hatching, it was actually just a shape I made by loop cutting a square a lot, then just fidgeting with the edges to round out the corners, then adding a long rectangle rotates 45 degrees so the pointed edge are facing outwards, and then rotated 45 degrees so it's diagonal, then duplicating it a ton so it covers the shape with equal spacing apart. Joining those, duplicating it and flipping it so they cross over each other and make the cross-hatching, then using the Boolean from earlier to remove all the excess coming out of the shape.